So after that, you've said before, like you know, you wanted to chill out. You didn't stop writing or anything like that, but you were spending time raising your daughter. You did some features here and there,
Yeah.
and basically, like you wanted time to get yourself right, right? You worked a regular job at the airport for
Yeah.
almost 11 years, and sometimes it was frustrating when people would recognize you. And
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so what ended up happening with that? But you stopped drinking and you really got your focus back though.
Well, what happened is while I was working at Kennedy Airport, I was still drinking a lot, man. My dad even worked at Kennedy Airport, man. Sometimes he worked for Terminal 4, I worked for Terminal 1, and we both had these jobs where we would drive the mail from the airplanes to the post office in the airport. And when we would meet there, boy, we have our bottles and stuff. We would sip on the job, me and my dad and my friends and his friends, and we do the mail and all of that, and then head on back. But then I wound up moving up to a guard. I was a guard patrolling the airport, driving around the airport, driving around the runways and all of that. And then I moved up again. They had me inside of a building. I was at Building 14's front desk, which is like anybody that works in the airport, they have to go to that building to get their ID and get fingerprinted and stuff like that. So I was at the front desk for years. And then after that, they wound up putting me into the ID office. So I was doing fingerprinting and seeing these people and making their IDs and stuff like that. So a lot of people would recognize me because I'm right there. Like, yo, man, you rap? You look like Mikey D. Yeah, that's me. You know, so that was that. And I loved working, you know. And then eventually, my father had wound up getting sick, and he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So from the time that he went to the doctor and the doctor told him, I was with him, and the doctor, he said you got 6 months. I remember exactly what he said. We was both like, damn, what the fuck, and then so I'm still working at the airport. I'm taking my father to all of his appointments, his chemos, and taking him to all of his appointments and stuff like that. I'm drinking more now because I'm really stressed out. I'm still going to work. Then in the last month of my dad's life, I wound up taking a family leave, you know, because I had to, you know, I was caring for him and, you know, just being with him. And he was in the hospital and stuff like that. I started going up to the hospital, spending nights at the hospital and stuff like that. Finally, my father went into the hospice, and my cousin Mark was with me, and some crazy girl that I was dealing with, whatever. And when he took his last breath, he was holding my hand and he had his eyes open. He you know what I'm saying? And he took his last breath with his eyes open. And I couldn't sleep after that. So I had, what's that? What do you call it? Phobia? Whatever. Sleep deprivation, whatever. I couldn't sleep, man.
You had a fear of going to sleep.
Yeah, because all I could see was his eyes, man. And it scared me, man. So, you know, in Queens, we got the bodegas right around the corner. I would go around the corner and get a tall can of Coors Light, sit on my front steps and drink until I got tired enough to go to sleep. And then when I would go to sleep, I would have to get up in 2 hours because I had to go to work. So I'm going to work hungover, you know, alcohol's coming out my pores now. Now I'm starting to spiral a little bit. You know what I mean? And the last straw was I snapped at work on my supervisor, you know, because he was aggressive and people were scared of him, and I was hungover and I just didn't want to be bothered. I had my pops on my mind, and he said something to me, and I snapped and wanted to fight and all of that. So they wound up firing me, and so I had 6.
I'm sorry, it's not funny that you got fired, but at the same time, it's kind of crazy too. Like I can only imagine like what that scene looked like, man.
Oh, it was turmoil up in there, man. It was a real.
And you had worked there for how many years at this point?
I worked there for about, I don't know, maybe, about 10 years, man.
Wow.
It was a lot of years I put in, man. And Yeah, so that happened, man. And I was on unemployment. So that's when I started getting back into my bag and with the rhymes and all of that, because now I got time. And then I wound up running into some money because they owed me retro or something like that. And I wound up buying, a little studio setup for the room. Bismarck used to come over and show me stuff and give me beats and all of that. Anyway, I was still drinking heavy. And then one night, I reached out to one of my homegirls, Libby, and I asked her, yo, what's up with you got any friends? Just messing with her. Like, she said, yeah, I got a girlfriend for you, blah, blah, blah. So she introduced me to one of her friends. Now, I didn't know Libby moved upstate. She moved upstate, and she introduced me to one of her friends from up here. So I wound up coming up here to meet the girl, and we hit it off. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was going to be, we on just whatever. And I bounce and I go back, and then, that's that on. But I really dug her, and she was digging me. And next thing I know, I changed my whole life around because I had a choice. Either I could keep this new woman right now and live happily ever after, or I could remain the same person I am in Queens, and ain't no telling where you're going to wind up. So I wound up dropping the bottle. I stopped drinking and everything, straightened my life up, started spending more time with this woman, fell in love, in real love, wound up moving upstate with her. And I've been good ever since, man. Going on maybe 13 years now, sober.
That's amazing, bro.
And then look, when I first moved up here, I was a security guard because now my unemployment is getting ready to run out, and I can't have this woman taking care of me. I mean, I'm still getting ASCAP royalty checks, but they're not enough to sustain a lifestyle. Paying rent,
especially not today.
Yeah, so I always kept my license as security, man. Security, that was always been one of my favorite jobs, doing security, because my grandfather, he did security. He was a military man first, right? But when he retired from the military, he was doing security. And I always thought my grandfather looked so cool and sharp in his uniforms, man. And I wanted to be like that. Me and my Uncle Jerry wanted to be just like my grandfather. So we did security, man, and we always was sharp, man, with our security outfits. So when I moved up here, I was doing security for a company called Always Secure, and they had the contract at Pepsi of the Hudson Valley up here. So they put me on that site, and I was working overnights, and I got to know everybody at Pepsi, and they loved me there. And so I worked there for about 2 years as a security guard, contracted to that company. And then I wound up upgrading my security license to armed because it was so easy for me to obtain a pistol permit up here. I said, let me obtain a armed security and make some more money. So I did that and the armored truck license, right? Because I got my gun now. So before another security company called me, the armored truck company wound up calling me, and I told Always Secure, look, I'm about to get out of here. I'm going to the armored trucks, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to make me some money, man. Don't you be falling asleep, Panda. I'm not that boring.
No, I'm not, man. I'm listening, man.
So now I'm doing the armored truck for 1 year. Anyway, I bumped into one of the managers from Pepsi at one of our stops. And he said, Mikey D, man, we miss you at Pepsi, man. There's a spot that just opened within Pepsi, and we think you would be the perfect pick for the spot. You think you could swing by and talk to Mary? Mary was the HR person. I said, yeah, let's see what it's about. So one day I pulled up to Pepsi with the armored truck and all, man, my uniform, my gun, and all of that. I go in there. She tells me what the position was. I'll be head of security there, checking the trucks in. I got my own office and all of that. Benefits, and then all of that was just through the roof. It was a no-brainer. More money and I didn't have as much of a risk. So I left. I resigned from the armored truck company, started working back at Pepsi, but on the Pepsi side, and I've been there ever since. They support my music. They support everything that I do.
Damn, man, you making that good money. I know you making that good money, man.
Nah, I mean it's all right. It pays the bills, but you know what? I don't even look at the money. I'm happy there.
Yeah,
I'm happy there. I don't look at it as work, man. I look at them people as my family. Everybody, I know everybody on first name basis. Everybody that works there, from the top of the line to the owner, all the way down to the janitor. I know everybody, and I show them all the same respect. They show me the same respect and love, and I just love it at my job, B.
Man, I love that, bro. That's so great to hear, man. Damn, that's a good story, bro, to hear, man.
Word. So, you know, they say love makes you do crazy things. So the woman that I'm with, Wanda, right now, she's the reason that I'm the person that I am today, man, because she stuck by me through thick and thin. You know, there's been times when it was hard for me, and she always had my back, man. Because like I said, I lost my whole side of my family, my mother's side, my grandmother, grandfather, my mom's, my aunt, my uncle, my little cousin Corey. I mean, Karen and them are still there, but they're way in Arizona. I love them dearly as well, but you know, my immediate family, man, is gone. I'm the only Deering left.
You know what's amazing about your story with Wanda, right? Is that a lot of times, especially in today's era, it's like a woman is expecting a man to already have it all together and to invest in her. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of women anymore with the expectation of, I'm going to build together with my man. And he may not be at the point that he wants to be yet, but with time and with support, he can get there. Right? Like you started at one point and then look at where you are now, head of security, right? But it took time. So a lot of times when you meet people, they want you to be already at that level, that top level or whatever, you know, and they don't want to do the building with you. So when you meet somebody that is willing to invest in you and to put in that work and see that potential in you, you got to hold on to that. You got to hold on to that, man.
That's without a doubt. Yeah. Look, she don't have a whole bunch of kids. She got one son. She was divorced. She only had her husband. You know what I mean? Like, she don't have no track record or none of that. And it's like she supports what I do. She loves what I do. You know what I mean? And we have trust. That's the biggest thing that hurts relationship, is the trust factor. And she's been with me, so she trusts when I go out alone, because I set boundaries with the flirting and all of that. I set boundaries immediately. You know, I love my fans. I'm a social person, but I got a wife at home. You feel me? So I set boundaries early. I'm not looking for nothing new, because everything that I want is at home, and she knows that. You feel me? So that's why I love this relationship.
Respect, Mikey, man. It's a good message, bro. Like a lot of people need to hear, you know. So I'm really grateful for you to be able to share something like that on this platform.
No doubt, man.